This is not so much case updates, but more opinions on the cases that I have talked about. So we're going to talk about Amber Shelton, which I've talked about at length on here, and we are also going to talk about Marissa Carmichael. Talk about both. So let me 1 second here. So those of you who already follow me, welcome back, and those of you who are just now joining, welcome. So this is a true crime channel. I talk about local cases here in North. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, so I talk about those. I talk about stuff in the state. I also talk about historical crime. I also talk about things that made history. I do a lot of things. So let's get to it. So Amber Shelton went missing December 9th, 2024. So we thought. So we still, I mean, it still hasn't been disproven, but that is where she went missing. So let me catch you up on who she is. She's a 33-year-old Black woman, lesbian, and she had a girlfriend by the name of Sherry Mapp. Sherry Mapp has a husband named Khalif Mapp. Sherry Mapp and Amber Shelton were living together at the Nottingham Apartments. They had been together approximately 7 months, give or take on that. And Amber took issue that Sherry's married, you know. On the day that Amber went missing, per Sherry, keep that in mind, I'm going to say this, per Sherry, Amber left her wallet, she left her phone, and she left an uncashed check for $1,200, but took her gun. Yeah. So, which also sets up the theory or the narrative that Amber wanted to hurt herself. Now, last week, hi Marv, hello. Last week, Amber Shelton's body was recovered under a bridge at the Greensboro Arboretum. There's a couple of videos on this YouTube channel that show me at the park walking around showing you the area where she was found. Now, Greensboro PD found her body. They said she has been dead for some time, so approximately 3 months. Very badly decomposed, so they could not tell us how she died. So they had to send her to Raleigh for the medical examiner to do a full exam. Within 24 hours, the medical examiner declared it a suicide. Now, that doesn't make any sense, especially where her injury was. And I can't, per her mother, she did not want me to release where her injury was, her gunshot injury was. But they found the gun the day after they found Amber on the ground, out in the open, not covered up at all. Make that make sense. We're talking about Amber Shelton, woman that went missing in Greensboro that was found deceased last week. And Greensboro PD is saying she unalived herself. So the gun is sitting there out in the open, not covered, and you're going to sit there and tell me that thing has been sitting there for 3 months? So tell me, what do you think on that one? That doesn't make any sense. Greensboro PD, in my opinion, has completely dropped the ball on this case because they have taken what this Sherry Mapp has said at complete full face value gospel and not really has done almost no investigating whatsoever. Because Amber's family has come at them and said, hey, talk to her. They weren't getting along. Amber was moving to Virginia to start her life over, but then Amber disappears and ends up dead. I don't understand. I don't understand why any of them or even, why they have not sweated this chick. So there's that. Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to look at it that way, suicidal tendencies, yep. So anyway, so the reason I'm hopping on here tonight, we have another true crime post that goes on around on Facebook. They're called the North Carolina Beat. Um, I actually had somebody last weekend reach out to me saying that they knew the true story and that they wanted to talk to me and tell me what they knew because they had issues with what the narrative was being out there. This same person also reached out to the North Carolina Beat and he got to her before I did, or them. I don't know if it's a woman, but got to them before I did. And what's interesting is the North Carolina Beat seems like they were coming down on the side of Sherry Mapp and Khalif Mapp, because in my opinion, I think they're both complicit in what happened to Amber. But he's coming down on their side saying, they've been getting harassed, they've been getting threatened on social media. But here's the thing though, people are going to have questions because Sherry, you're living with Amber. They don't buy the suicide story, so they're going to have questions. They're going to ask, well, what happened? What really happened in this? And this girl, it's weird. They were together 7 months. It's all over their TikToks and Instagrams and all the other stuff that they were a couple. A couple. But the second Amber disappears, she's telling people, oh, we were never a couple. We were never together. But you were living there. You were calling her your stud. You were begging her to talk to you and not tell your problems that you guys were having to other people. So make that make sense. How are you not a couple? That's what I want to know. So I don't get it. I don't get it. So anyway, but that is the story in Amber Shelton. No one of the 60,000 plus people that watched the video, the live video I did at the park that is now on YouTube, it got spread all over Facebook. Am I reading this from Google? No. Of the people of the 60 plus thousand people that have watched that video, they have gone on and voiced their opinions. And they have said, there's no way on earth that girl hurt herself. There's no way. None of it makes any sense. You've got, you know, the medical examiner in Raleigh saying that they have declared the manner of death as unaliving and it was done by a gunshot wound, all in 24 hours, and that the gun itself was the one that they found was the one that did it. So I've never known results come back that quickly. Never. Ever. Not even on detective shows I watch. That doesn't work like that. No, it takes time. Uh, I've spoken to Amber's mother. They're not believing that story. Her friends are not believing that story, that she hurt herself. Now, the North Carolina Beat did put out a snippet of a message that they received from a source. And they said that prior to her missing, or right after she went missing, text went out saying she wanted to not be here anymore. Now let's look at that. Now she was already planning on going to Virginia, so that wouldn't be here anymore. She wouldn't be here in Greensboro. So, you know, Virginia is not here. So why is everybody jumping to unaliving, hurting oneself off of that when she was already making plans to go somewhere else? You tell me. None of it makes any sense. People with plans, people who are planning to change their atmosphere, their surroundings, in my opinion, and from what I understand, don't hurt themselves. I mean, you have the hi DJ. I'm talking about Amber Shelton. Um, when you make plans, very seldomly do you hurt yourself to the point of dying. So, that doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. And like I said, the North Carolina beat, that guy, he likes to do lives on Facebook, and I don't want him coming after me for being mean or something. So I'm going to stop talking about him. But you've got multiple people out there speaking on this case, especially right after she went missing, because there was random people who were posting, saying, "Oh, Amber's fine. She just needed space. She's grown. She don't need to talk to you." And her friends are like, "What the heck are you talking about? Like, what do you know? How do you know how do you know she's fine?" Because based on the dates of those messages, Amber was already deceased. So that's suspect. I know the police investigated some of those people, and it turned out they were friends or had ties to Sherry Map and Khalif Map. So they have been working triple time trying to um, basically craft this narrative to control it for the outcome that they get. And I truly believe bias played a role in this case in the investigation part, because Amber is black, a woman, and gay. And I don't believe Greensboro PD did any investigation work to the level of what they needed to do to solve this case. Had we not had those storms, I don't think she ever would have been found. And, you know, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs, because her mother's beside herself. Her friends are beside themselves. You see pictures of Amber. She was full of life. She was full of energy. She was full of just doing what she wanted to do, living her best life. So why would she hurt herself? No history of depression, no history of ever speaking any type of ideations like this. So why now? She left the house without her wallet, without her phone, and without the uncashed $1,200 check. Make that make sense, you know? Um, but took the gun. And again, this is all per Sherry Map. She's the only person who can speak to what happened prior to her leaving. She did admit that they had a verbal altercation. Amber was mad. Again, per Sherry Map. And then within a month of Amber disappearing, Sherry and her husband Khalif move into the same apartment complex. Make that make sense. So all of it's suspect. And Amber was found at the Greensboro Arboretum, which from where she lives to the Greensboro Arboretum where she was at, it's about, you can drive in about 5 minutes. So walking would probably take her about 10 to 15, if that is how she ended up there. Some people feel that she was placed there. Some people feel she was taken there and then killed. I don't know. But it's hard to say what really happened when you only have one person who can actually talk about what went on prior, and you don't know what they're saying is the truth. You have no idea if it's the truth. And I just feel for her family. I really do, and her friends. So that is what's going on with Amber Shelton. Greensboro PD has completely dropped the ball. They needed to do better. They owe Amber's family and Amber better. So let's talk about Marissa Carmichael. So Marissa Carmichael had another little docu-series done about her here recently. It came out about a week ago. And on there, they interviewed her mother. And she's still sticking to the whole, my daughter's being held against her will somewhere. And like I said, I don't blame her mom for having that thought, because if you do that, at least there's hope that you're thinking she is still out there somewhere. But we're now talking a year and 2 months after she went missing. There's been no word. There's been no credit card activity, no bank activity, nothing, nothing. So where is she? I think she is no longer alive. That's my personal opinion. But in that docuseries, she talks about Amber getting into a car with a guy. And all the comments, people were like, "Oh, she got in the car with somebody she didn't know." She did know him. His name was Sean O'Leary. She knew him. She met him a year before she went missing. So she did know him. The guy that dropped her off the Exxon and left her, she knew him too. So, but I truly believe that she is no longer alive. And because her younger sister, had a baby a couple months ago, and I don't think Marissa would have missed that. I also don't think Marissa would have dipped out on her children because when I talked to Detective Denny about this about a year ago, he did say he did not believe Marissa was being trafficked because there was no evidence showing she was being trafficked. But he also did say that there was no evidence about her not being trafficked. He did throw that out there. He also did not believe that she had to run off because that takes money. She didn't have any money to do that. So, in his opinion, and he didn't say it like, in my opinion, it's this, he said, "What does that leave?" And I said, "That means she's no longer alive." He's like, "That's where it kind of looks." And that's where he left it. So, with her case, I do believe her ex-boyfriend, um, the baby daddy of the four youngest kids, is the one who unalived her or had something to do with it. Shawnee Leely, the guy that she left the gas station with that picked her up, I think he knows what happened. I think Naja Miller, the friend of hers that was staying with them at the house, knows what happened to her because that girl went ghost as soon as this all went down. Completely couch surfing. Tasha Poplin, who is a cousin to Marissa, who drove her into Greensboro that night, I think she knows what happened, and her ex-boyfriend Victor Martinez. Let's see, Jersey Moneybag. That's the guy that abandoned her at the Exxon. I think he knows what happened. Mo Dallas, the guy she went out with at the beginning of the night, that she left with at his apartment with him and went all out and had a good time. I truly believe he knows what happened. So there's so many people in here that were involved, and they either had their hands in actually helping deal with this, like get rid of her. It's okay, you weren't here, just catch up. Um, but I think if they did not put hands on her to end her life, they know what happened to her. And I truly believe that. And her five children would like to know where she is, because that's sad. Absolutely sad. Um, yeah. Was it Benjamin Franklin has a quote that says, two people can keep a secret when one of them is dead. There is a weak link in amongst the list of people I just named off that most likely have knowledge as to what happened to Marissa. And the weakest one of them all is Naja Miller. She's the one that you need to push because she'll tell you what happened. But you got to push her. She knows something. And that girl's terrified. Oh, goodness. Well, I've been rambling for almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to hop off here. So, those of you who are joining me tonight, welcome. Those of you who have never been here before, welcome. Just make sure. Oh, DJ, I'll get to that here in a second. So DJ just asked, any new updates on will TK Burton Alive trial will begin? The last note I saw on there was they are all getting together on June 9th to have some type of hearing. And I believe that's to set the date for trial. So June 9th is the next time they're going to be in there. I do know that Bo Benjamin Martin's attorney had petitioned the court for funding to get a expert witness to testify. And what that witness is and who that is, that I do not know. But they are asking for money for that from the state. So I thought that was interesting. Um, but June 9th seems to be the next day for that, June 9th. So they are going to come together. I guess they're going to finally, I mean, they've all been charged with either well, Jacob Hill has been charged with first-degree murder. Everybody else, the other three guys, are being charged with accessory after the fact. And those details involve witness intimidation, disposal of weapons, disposal of body evidence, all that stuff, and even obstructing justice and hiding Jacob Hill away. Nobody can give me a valid, or I mean, nobody can really come up with a reason why Jacob did this. And yeah, they were friends for years, good friends. So who knows? Who knows why this actually happened? But June 9th is the next court date. Like I said, I believe in that court date, they are going to set when the trial is going to be. And I hope it's soon because I know TK Burton's mother and his wife and family would love to get closure on this and get some answers to why it even happened in the first place. I mean, that man destroyed a family, a young family. There's a little boy out there that's never going to know his father on the level he should know him because this guy took him away. And that, of anything out of this whole thing, is the saddest part of that case. In fact, Jacob Hill has a son about the same age, and that child is going to grow up without his father. Jacob may not be the best person, but he's still that kid's father. And those boys are going to be fatherless for a very long time. I mean, their moms could always remarry and meet somebody else, but it's still not their dad. And that's the truth. So, but I will keep tabs on that. I'm gonna hop on to the court site and see if there's been any updates. I haven't seen anything in a little bit. But if there's anything prior to June 9th, I will let you all know. But right now, June 9th is the next court date for all four of those lunatics at the Randolph County Courthouse. So I'm going to try and see if I can take off and go and witness what's going on because, be part of the scene. If I can't be there for the June 9th, I'm definitely going to try and get out there for when they actually do the actual trial because that is interesting. So a little update as to what's coming up here soon. So I just did a video on Frank Lucas. For those of you who don't know who that is the American gangster, New York drug kingpin. Did a video up for him. It's actually already on here. So if you want to watch that, it's an interesting watch. Let's see. I am working on the oldest missing child cases that have been unsolved, one for each state. So there's going to be 50 of them in total, the oldest one. And the first one is going to be out of the state of Vermont, Victory Plouffe. She's been missing since 1879. So I do believe that is the oldest case of that. So that will be on Thursdays. I'm going to release those videos on Thursday. So the first one will be on Thursday. And my mobster Mondays are every other Monday. So I'm not sure who the next mobster is going to be, but I am going to be doing stories on Nikki Barnes and Pee Wee Kirkland. Those have come my way. But if you guys think of any other ones I should do that are not like really well known, I mean, everybody has heard of Lucky Luciano and Al Capone and Meyer Lansky. I mean, these are well known names. So I'll cover them, but not right away. But like George Remus, that was, one I did, and he's an unknown that people thought was a fake character out of Boardwalk Empire. He was really real. So, but yeah, that's what's coming up on the channel. So just keep an eye out. And if you subscribe and you click that little bell thing, it'll let you know when I got new stuff out. So definitely do that. So, all that being said, I'm going to hop off here. So thank you again for joining me. And those of you who come on here for the first time, welcome. Come back again. And subscribe, share, comment, like, all that good stuff. It doesn't cost anything. Just kind of shove it along. And as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe. Because if you're weird and rude, they'll leave you alone. And they won't take you, I promise. So, bye, everybody. Have a good night.